a micro-coded and partially dynamic Z80 in CMOS, with on-chip peripherals and a simple MMU giving a 1 MB address space. It was later second-sourced by Zilog, initially as the Z64180, and then in the form of the slightly...
Yes, I have to get back to my bed, and this program reading so fast, then I'm losing track of the text. I need to pause like 30 seconds, because I will get lost in the text. I don't know where the program is reading, so I have to stop, because I have to lay down. I cannot sit, because I have damaged my back, because I've been sitting so many hours on my bed. I have to lay down and do this, not damage my back. I think we are something down here in the text. Let's just continue. But I think the camcorder will run out of power in like half an hour. Yes, continue.
Modified Z180, 49, which has bus protocol and timings better adapted to Z80 peripheral chips. Z180 has been maintained and further developed under Zilog's name, the newest versions being based on fully static S180/L180 core with very low power draw and EMI noise. Toshiba developed the 84-pin Z84013/Z84C13 and the 100-pin Z84015/Z84C15 series of intelligent peripheral controllers, basically ordinary NMOS and CMOS Z80 cores with Z80 peripherals, watchdog timer, power on reset, and wait state generator on the same chip. Manufactured by Sharp as well as Toshiba. These products are today second sourced by Zilog. 50. The 32-bit Z80 compatible Zilog Z380, introduced 1994, is used mainly in telecom equipment. Zilog's fully pipelined Z80 compatible EZ80, 51, with an 8/16/24-bit word length and a linear 16 MB address space was introduced in 2001. It exists in versions with on-chip SRAM or flash memory, as well as with integrated peripherals. One variant has on-chip Mac, MIDI-access controller, and available software include a TCP/IP stack. In contrast with the Z800 and Z280, there are only a few added instructions, primarily LES, PES, and variable address 16/24-bit loads, but instructions are instead executed between 2 and 11 times as clock cycle efficient as on the original Z80, with a mean value around 3 to 5 times. It is currently specified for clock frequencies up to 50 MHz. Kawasaki developed the binary-compatible KL5C8400, which is approximately 1.2-1.3 times as clock cycle efficient as the original Z80 and can be clocked at up to 33 MHz. Kawasaki also produces the KL5C80A1X family, which has peripherals as well as a small RAM on chip. It is approximately as clock cycle efficient as the EZ80 and can be clocked at up to 10 MHz. 2006. 52. The NEC PD9002 was a hybrid CPU compatible with both Z80 and X86 families. The Chinese Action Semiconductors audio processor family of chips, ATJ2000 and 85 and others, contains a Z80 compatible MCUs together with a 24-bit dedicated DSP processor. 53. These chips are used in many MP3 and media player products. The T80, VHDL, and TV80, Verilog, synthesizable soft cores are available from appncores.org. 54. The National Semiconductor NSC 800 announced in 1980, 55, is used in many telesecurity TST, electronic cipher machines, 56, and the Canon X07. The NSC 800 is fully compatible with the Z80 instruction set. 57. The NSC800 uses a multiplexed bus like the 8085 but has a different pinout than the Z80.58. Non-compatible EV Toshiba TLCS900 series of high-volume, mostly OTP, microcontrollers are based on the Z80. They share the same basic BC-HL9IY register structure, and largely the same instructions, but are not binary compatible, while the previous TLCS90 is Z80 compatible. 59. The NEC78K series microcontrollers are based on the Z80. They share the same basic BC-HL register structure, and has similar, but differently named, instructions, not binary compatible. Partly compatible Rabbit Semiconductors Rabbit 2000/3000/4000 microprocessors/microcontrollers, 60, are based on the HD64180/Z180 architecture, although they are not fully binary compatible. 61. No longer produced. The ASCII Corporation R800 was a fast 16-bit processor used in MSX Turbo R computers. It was software, but not hardware compatible with the Z80. Signal timing, pinout and function of pins differ from the Z80. Zilog's MOS Z800 and CMOS Z280 were 16-bit Z80 implementations. Before the HD64180/Z180, with a 16 MB paged MMU address space, they added many orthogonalizations and addressing modes to the Z80 instruction set. Mini-computer features such as user and system modes, multiprocessor support, on-chip MMU, on-chip instruction and data cache and so on were seen rather as more complexity than as functionality and support for the usually electronics-oriented, embedded systems designer. It also made it very hard to predict instruction execution times. Certain arcade games such as Pang/Buster Bros use an encrypted Kabuki Z80 CPU manufactured by VLSI Technology, where the decryption keys are stored in its internal battery-backed memory, to avoid piracy and illegal bootleg games. 62. ASCII R800. Hitachi HD64180. Zilog Z180. Zilog Z280. Toshiba TMP Z84C015. Notable uses. Desktop computers. The Z80 was used as the CPU in a number of gaming consoles, such as this ColecoVision. During the late 1970s and early 1980s, the Z80 was used in a great number of fairly anonymous business-oriented machines with the CP/M operating system, a combination that dominated the market at the time. 63, 64. For well-known examples of Z80 business computers running CP/M are the Heathkit H89, the portable Osborne 1, the K-Pro series, and the Epson QX10. Less well-known was the expensive high-end Otrina attached. 65. Some systems used multitasking operating system software, like MP/M or Morrow's Micronix, to share the one processor between several concurrent users. A Sinclair ZX Spectrum which used a Z80 clocked at 3.5 Ms. Multiple home computers were introduced that used the Z80 as the main processor or as a plug-in option to allow access to software written for the Z80. Notable are the TRS-80 series, including the original model, later retronamed Model I, Model 2, Model 3 and Model 4, which were equipped with a Z80 as their main processor, and some, but not all, other TRS-80 models which use it Z80 as either the main or a secondary processor. Other notable machines were the December Rainbow 100, and the Sequoia Chameleon, both of which featured both an Intel 8088 and a Z80 CPU. Toja port either 8-bit CP/M80 applications running on the Z80, or a custom MS-DOS that was not fully compatible with PC-DOS applications running on the 8088. In 1981, Multitech, later to become Acer, introduced the Microprocessor I, a simple and inexpensive training system for the Z80 microprocessor. Currently, it is still manufactured and sold by Flight Electronics International Limited in Southampton, England. In 1985, Sharp introduced the Hotbit and Gradient introduced the Expert, which became the dominant 8-bit computers in Brazil until the late 1980s. Portable and handheld computers. Use of the Z80 in lighter, battery-operated devices became more widespread with the availability of CMOS versions of the processor. It also inspired the development of other CMOS-based processors, such as the LH5801-66, from Sharp. The Sharp PC1500, a basic programmable pocket computer, was released in 1981. Followed by the improved Sharp PC1600 in 1986 and the Sharp PCE220 in 1991. Later models of Sharp Wizard series of personal organizers also were Z80 based. Laptops which could run the CP/M operating system just like the desktop machines followed with Epson PX8 Geneva in 1984, and in 1985 the Epson PX4 and Bondwell 2. While the laptop market in subsequent years moved to more powerful Intel 8086 processors and the MS-DOS operating system, lightweight Z80-based systems with a longer battery life were still being introduced, such as the Cambridge Z88 in 1988 and the Amstrad NC100 in 1992. The Z80-derived Z8S180 also found its way into an early pen-operated personal digital assistant, the Amstrad PenPad PDA600 in 1993. Hong Kong-based VTech produced a line of small laptop computers called Lasers based on a Z80.67, 68. The last two were the Laser PC5, 69, and PC6.70. The Sidco mail station Mivo 100, first released in 1999, was a standalone portable email device, with a Z80 basic microcontroller. 71. Texas Instruments produced a line of pocket organizers, ending in 2000, using Toshiba processors built around a Z80 core. The first of these was the TPS 6200. 72, and after a lengthy production run of some dozen models culminated in their PocketMate series. 73, Embedded Systems and Consumer Electronics. Z80-based PABs. The Z80 is the third chip from the left to the right off chip with the handwritten white label on it. The Zilog Z80 has long been a popular microprocessor in embedded systems and microcontroller cores. 23, where it remains in widespread use today. 3. 74. Applications of the Z80 include uses in consumer electronics, industrial products, and electronic musical instruments. For example, Z80 was used in the groundbreaking music synthesizer Prophet 575, as well as in the first MIDI synthesizer Prophet 600. 76. Casio used the Z80 in its PV1000 video game console. A good number of early 1980s arcade video games, including Thurcade game Pac-Man, contain Z80 CPUs. The Z80 was used in the Sega Master System and Sega Game Gear consoles. The Sega Genesis contains a Z80, with its own 8 kilobytes of RAM, which runs in parallel with the MC68000 main CPU, has direct access to the system's sound chips and I/O controller ports and has a switched data path to the main memory bus of the 68000, providing access to the 64 kilobytes main RAM, the software cartridge and the whole video chip, in addition to providing backward compatibility with Master System games. The Z80 is often used to control and play back audio in Genesis software. 13. Z80 CPUs were also used in the trailblazing and popular T8X series of graphing calculators from Texas Instruments, beginning in 1990 with the T81, which features a Z80 clocked at 2 MHz. Most high-line calculators in the series, starting with the T82 and T85, clock their Z80 CPUs at 6 MHz or higher. A few models with T8X names use other CPUs, such as the M68000, but the vast majority are Z80 based. On those, it is possible to run assembled or compiled user programs in the form of Z80 machine language code. The T84 Plus series, introduced in 2004, is still in production as of 2020. The T84 Plus CE series, introduced in 2015, uses the Z80-derived Zilog Z80 processor and is also still in production as of 2020. In the late 1980s, a series of Soviet landline phones called AON featured the Z80. These phones expanded a feature set of the landline with caller ID, different ringtones based on the caller, speed dial and so forth. 77. In the second half of 90s, manufacturers of these phones switched to 8051 compatible MCUs to reduce power consumption and prevent compact wall warts from overheating. See also Zilog Z80, S100 bus, SYMBOS, Z88DK, Microprocessor MPFI, Z80 training system. Footnotes. I only Inkmos, national made known MOS version, according to oral history with Federico Fagin. 2. Zilog included several traps in the layout of the chip to try to delay this copying. According to Fagin, an NEC engineer later told him it had cost them several months of work before they were able to get their PD780 to function. 3. These were named the Z80 CTC, counter/timer, Z80 DMA, direct memory access, Z80 DOT, dual asynchronous receiver transmitter, Z80 SIO, synchronous communication controller, and Z80 PIO, parallel input/output. 4. Zilog manufactured the Z80 as well as most of their other products for many years until they sold their manufacturing plants and become the fabless company they are today. Although the 8080 had 16-bit addition and 16-bit increment and decrement instructions, it had no explicit 16-bit subtraction, and no overflow flag. The Z80 complemented this with the actual hour and SBCHLR instructions, which sets the new overflow flag accordingly. The 8080 compatible add HLR does not. 6. Notably to simultaneously handle the 32-bit mantises of 2 operands in the 40-bit floating point format used in the Sinclair home computers. They were also used in a similar fashion in some earlier but lesser known Z80-based computers, such as the Swedish ABC80 and ABC800. 7. As this refresh does not need to transfer any data, just output sequential row addresses, it occupies less than 1.5 T states. The dedicated M1 signal, machine cycle 1, in the Z80 can be used to allow memory chips.
Yes, the video is just split, and just record that, because could be something useful information there. It's close to 12 o'clock, and I need to do something else sooner. I will have some visit maybe soon, and the camcorder's out of power. So, and the video will split, so we'll have a small new parts. There's lots of stuff there I don't understand, because I'm not a computer programmer, and I read English, I do that, but I not understand everything because I'm from Denmark. But my English will get better when I record stuff like that. but just read this again in next year or next year again. Just go and read it again in few years, maybe I understand it better next time I read this.